Hi, and welcome along to... No, it's not AFTV Transfer Daily. Still got the set up here. We're actually in the process of taking the set down. But you know what? I thought we'd do a little program today where I spoke about some of the comments that came out yesterday about the transfer activities of Arsenal. Now, the statement came out from the chief executive, Ivan Gazidis. Apparently, he sent an email to the players to talk about the transfer window and how it went. And I must say that I was astonished by the email that he sent. And most fans found it astonishing. Let's just get into what he said. He said, these are just the key points from what he said. He said, at the end of the window, reviewing all activity, we once again improved the depth and quality of the squad. That's what he said in his email. And then he went on to say, everything is coloured by results. A positive performance at Liverpool would have coloured this transfer window very differently, he said. And he went on to say, we had a poor start to the season, but we have the quality to turn it around and turn around the performances and compete for the title. Now, I am absolutely gobsmacked and astonished by those comments. I mean, you know, I think it's universal, you know, especially amongst Arsenal fans, that it was not a good window. It was a bad window, and it wasn't just coloured by results, you know, the result at Liverpool. It was a terrible transfer window. And it's also interesting reading yesterday, David Ornstein, he's the BBC journalist, does a lot of stuff on Arsenal, really accurate stuff, really, you know, really respected. He put out a tweet yesterday talking about Arsenal's transfer activity, and some of the key points from what he said that Arsenal didn't want to sell Ozil, Oxlade-Chamberlain and Alexis unless huge money came in. Now, huge money came in for Oxlade-Chamberlain, £40 million. They didn't really want to sell him, but they decided that, you know, he said he wanted to go, so they let him go, and they got £40 million for him. They didn't want to sell Alexis. They've been saying all summer, but when the bid came in for 60 million from Manchester City, they decided to sell him. They thought with the money that they've got from Oxlade-Chamberlain plus the 60 million, they can go and get Lamar. They put a bid in of over 90 million pounds for Lamar. That was rejected. We know that's true because Arsene Wenger's even admitted it. And also, there was this thing that David Ornstein was saying, and I've heard coming out of Arsenal, that they just needed to get rid of players. They needed to get, the squad was too big. Arsene Wenger was saying it all throughout the summer. They needed to offload players and get them off the wage bill. They shipped out loads and loads of players, and they've got loads and loads of players off the wage bill. Also, they're one of a few teams that made a profit, Arsenal, in the transfer window. We made a profit when everybody else was going mad and spending big money. Couple of the other key points, right, that David Ornstein made is that Stan Kroenke is not willing. This is what he said. He goes, from what he can see with the transfer window, that Stan Kroenke is not willing to inject any of his own personal money into Arsenal competing or into transfers. And he also said that, like, Stan Kroenke is desperate for us to win trophies, thinks we can win trophies, looks at the model of Leicester City. He knows that, you know, he knows that he can't compete with the Manchester clubs. He knows he can't compete with Chelsea financially, but he looks at the model of Leicester. Yes, I'm being serious here, Arsenal fans. Leicester. And says to himself, well, Leicester won it with not this big budget spent and that, so we can do it as well. We can compete. And Ivan Gazidis is saying there that we can compete with the big spending Manchester clubs and with Chelsea, and you've got to include clubs like Everton into that now. And he said that we can compete with these sort of clubs because Leicester won the league. Now, I'm being honest with you. I'm absolutely, first of all, Ivan Gazidis' comments have just got me, I'm just like so upset about that. I'm angry about it. I mean, speaking to Arsenal fans, you saw the interviews we did on deadline day with fans. They were so angry. You saw the videos of me, you saw me, I've spoken to so many fans before the Liverpool game, and fans were angry. They were upset with our transfer business. Why have we got Lacazette, good signing, Kolasinac's good, and then we've just stopped? Where's the money? That's what fans were saying before Liverpool. Liverpool didn't colour over nothing, right? Everybody was upset before that, right? The transfer window was not a good transfer window. We lost one of our best players, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, to one of our rivals, Liverpool. Liverpool was spending big money. What have we been spending? We made a profit. We didn't go after the players that we need to strengthen the team. We need, you know, a holding midfielder. I was chatting to an agent yesterday at a SoccerX conference, and this is a true story, what he told me. He said that 2 years ago, he offered Arsenal Thiago Motta, and we turned it down. Thiago Motta, and it was cheap as well, right? So we've not addressed that area of holding midfielder. We seem to have spent most of our time trying to offload players, right? We've ended up with Alexander Lacazette, brilliant signing, Kolasinac, which was already done in January. We've sold Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. We've held on to Alexis by the skin of our teeth, but he's obviously not happy. He wanted to move. There was no proper plan in place to just say if he went to bring some in replacements. It's not been a good transfer window. It's been an awful transfer window. And if you speak to the fans, I've spoken to so many since, they're all hurting and they're all angry. And it's like these guys are living in a bubble if they think it's been a good transfer window. And on top of that now, when you read David Ornstein's account there, and he's saying that we're looking towards Leicester City. Fair play to Leicester when they won the league, and I'm not disrespecting Leicester in any way. It's an incredible achievement that will probably never be repeated again by a minnow, right? But Leicester City, you cannot compare Leicester City with Arsenal Football Club. Highest ticket prices in the world, right? 60,000 seat a stadium that we've had for 10 years. The biggest amount of money earned than any other team in the world on a match day. Biggest corporate section of any ground, right? We've got an owner who's a billionaire, who's saying that he's not willing to put any of his own money into the club. It's got to be all self-sustained, and that's fair enough. But you've also got on that board another billionaire owner who's saying that I am willing to put my money in where we can compete with the very, very biggest clubs in the world, right? In Usmanov, and they don't want to give the guy a look-in for personal reasons. They don't want to give him a look-in. But this guy who's running the club, Stan Kroenke, doesn't want to put any of his own personal money into the club. He wants us to run like Leicester. Leicester. Honestly, I'm really upset when I read these things. We were told we were going to the Emirates Stadium to be able to compete with teams like Bayern Munich. We would be the Bayern Munich of England, not Leicester. What is going on? So, honestly, when I see these statements, I'm like, are these guys deluded? Do they not understand how the fans are feeling? I know, listen, don't get me wrong. I know that as the chief executive of the club, he's going to have to be positive, if he can possibly be, about the transfer window. So he needs to be positive. He needs to get everybody back in a positive frame of mind, because we've got games coming up and it is all about results. If we go and we beat Bournemouth and we beat Chelsea and go on a little run, you know, that will ease a lot of the problems. But what if we don't? What if we draw to Bournemouth and what if we lose to Chelsea? What then? Is it just all coloured by results? Or is it the fact that we have not built a squad good enough to win the Premier League? Because in my opinion, we have not put together a squad that is good enough to win the Premier League. When I compare that to Manchester United, to Manchester City, to Chelsea, to all those teams, it's not good enough to win the Champions League, to win the Premier League, right? And if Mr. Kroenke is saying that, you know, we're going to do the Leicester model, I'm sorry, this is not Leicester Football Club. The fans don't want to hear that. You know, we want to compete with those teams. Man United, City, Chelsea. We used to compete with Manchester United every single year before we moved to the Emirates. So why did we bother to move for? What for? just to make you money. I don't know what you guys think. Actually, I know what you guys are going to think, but leave it in the comments below. What have you made of these comments? I think it's scandalous. Listen, there are times, and I understand, as I said, I've met Ivan Gazidis, and I think he's quite an honourable guy, to be honest, and it must be very difficult to run a club. Remember, you're taking instructions from the person who owns the club, and you got to get everybody on board. But I just don't think that statement, I'm sorry, maybe something in that statement where you admitted that it's been a problematic window. Even if you said that, you know, we've had some problems in the window that got thrown up that we were, a bit unexpected for us, that meant that we weren't quite able to get everything done as we wanted. But you know what, at the end of the day, this is what we've been left with. We can't do nothing about it now. Now we've got to move on until we get to whatever the next window is. But we still think we've got a good team that can compete. And let's all get behind the team. And something like that. Don't try and gloss over it and pretend that it's been a good window. Because it was not a good window. It was a disastrous window. Let's have it right. This is why all these ex-players are angry. This is why all the fans are angry. The only people who seem to be happy about it is Stan Kroenke and the board, because they're saying it's been a great window. We've strengthened the squad. How have we strengthened? When, yeah, we brought in Lacazette, but we've lost Ox. Leave it in the comments below and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching ArsenalFanTV. Don't forget to subscribe.